I wanted to see some simulations, and it's gonna be absolutely majestic. Hi guys, my name is Borodante, and welcome back to John and his new hair. So this was my first attempt. Turns out it's pretty easy and pretty awesome to totally replace MetaHuman's hair with anything you want in Unreal Engine 5. So that's what I did, and this was my first attempt. I definitely enjoy that John has his own unique look that you can't get out of MetaHuman Creator straight away, but he definitely does look like someone who cuts his own hair, which is technically what I did. So today I wanted to show you the process, which is like one step and that's it. And I learned that from this channel, by the way. Unreal Magic has a whole bunch of tutorials about Unreal Engine 5 and all kinds of cool stuff you can do with it. So check it out if you guys are interested. Thank you, Navid. So my plan for today is to show you guys the process and try and make John's hair maybe a bit more fancy. And also I wanted to import the hair for our witness number 1 that I got right here. I just quickly imported him very recently. I also forgot to turn on transparency apparently, but it's good enough. Oh, there you go, I think it worked. So yeah, now it has some kind of holes in there. And in here as well. On the shirt, I mean. So let's go ahead and fire up that blender, and we'll probably start with the witness because I just want to have a look at whatever the state of hair I had in there. Yeah, so you guys may have noticed before that I always have hair on the second witness in Blender, but I never have that whenever I show him right here in Unreal Engine. That's because I just didn't know how to import it. And really, after a few tries, I almost thought like, I think I'll just have to restart because it just felt like it wasn't gonna be that easy to do for whatever reason. Okay, so this is pretty much what I need to do. I have it actually separately applied on a transparent version of the mesh. Is it transparent or is it hidden? Because it should be like hidden. Yeah, show emitter unchecked. Now I just select this model. Also, this hair is actually not very much up to the standards of Unreal Engine 5 detail level. So I'll probably crank up those children details. I don't know, let's keep it this way. It's probably gonna have some issues with sticking out of the hat. That was the big issue. You can see, guys, I apply a bunch of effects to the roughness of the hair, like to fluff it out and add some randomized look to it, but nothing is happening at the top half of it. That's because I'm using like some kind of masks. As far as I remember, they're probably in here, yeah, for roughness and for density as well. There's well, the mask for density is to introduce the baldness and stuff, but all the like roughness effects are masked out by those weight maps that only allow it to happen below the hat. But let us quickly see if anything sticks out from the hat in here. It doesn't seem like it. So I'm gonna go ahead and save and export. What's interesting, you gotta export to Alembic. Scale needs to be 100. I don't know why, but that's what I've been told. So we don't need any of this stuff, and we need to export hair, and actually you don't even need to check particles, but that doesn't really matter. And in here, I should definitely mention, because I first missed that myself, right here in plugins we look up Groom and making sure that Alembic Groom Importer is turned on, because it's not turned on by default, and I spent quite some time trying to figure out why am I not seeing the same window of importing as everyone else. So now if we go ahead and check out this hair, Alembic file. What the hell is that? Oh yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. Did I not check export only selected? Because that's so what I should have done. Yeah, right. So you uncheck a lot of stuff, but you gotta make sure you check visible objects and selected objects, both of them. I think visible is important so it wouldn't be exporting the invisible emitter like the head mesh itself. Yeah, no frames. Bunch of stuff needs to be set up again every time apparently. Hair export. Seems like it's worked. There you go, this is the window you should be seeing. If you just exported hair, if there's only hair, this is what you're gonna see. And these things are important. It's a good thing that Unreal Engine still remembers these numbers I put in. Originally, there's all zeros here, all ones here. It should be like this because of the different orientation of the axes between Blender and Unreal. And that's it. We already have the hair right here, pretty much. Which one is the easiest way to just go ahead and promote this mesh to like a blueprint? Maybe like this. I know this button kind of does the blueprint thing. There we go. So the difference between just a skeletal mesh and a blueprint is that in a blueprint you have this skeletal mesh, but you can also add all kinds of different stuff, up to the point of turning this into a functional character with a camera behind its shoulder or whatever. But what I need right now is a groom object. Ha. And I'm gonna choose that groom asset right here. Boom, it's right in place. So that scale and orientation, everything worked out just fine. And actually, I kind of could have dropped it here, but I do know there needs to be another one thing that I won't really be able to show you guys that easily because this guy, like, I won't be animating him right now or anything. Like, the point is, if he would start moving his neck and shoulders or whatever, the hair would stay in place just like this. And that's because it's not bound to this mesh. And pretty much to do that, you just right-click on this hair asset and click Create Binding. And you choose that witness mesh. If I'm missing something, like if I'm telling this too quick, make sure to check out the Unreal Magic video on this. Right now, I'll go ahead and find this groom binding that I just created, compile, and we're not gonna be able to see it, but if the guy would be moving around, the hair would move with him perfectly, which is like magic. But I assume it works so well because the hair is perfectly generated to grow exactly where the mesh is. Like perfectly on the same place. So it's just grabbing all the roots of the hairs and looking which mesh is perfectly aligned to the roots and just moves the roots with the mesh. And the rest of the hair is just following along or being simulated. So yeah, that's a quick way of telling you guys how to import things. Let me real quick add a little light because like the worst positioning of the light to see the hair at all. There's generally not a lot of, design value to this hair with this character, but there it is. I think it's looking pretty cool, like it's adding some extra depth to the shape. But yeah, after this, what we can do, we can also add a material, like we can create a new material or whatever. So yeah, by the way, this is the hair itself in Unreal Engine. What's cool, in here, everything is connected, and we can set up some quite awesome things, including like the thickness of it, and all kinds of stuff. It's awesome. So we can make sure one thing that was definitely missing in the in here when we were looking at it, it looks like hay a little bit because it's just ending so sharply. It's best to make the hair thin out at the tip, so, but not to like 0. He had a haircut at some point, so let's just go at least 0.1, maybe even 0.25. Also, the hair is like not gray, it's just blonde. So that's material that, there you go, you can see it looks kind of much better, I think. And I'll connect like base color. Oh no, that's way too colorful. Like this, it needs to be gray. And I guess I'll connect just a singular value for roughness. It would be like pretty rough. 3.7 at least. So these two things. Also, I'm not sure, is it like it's a surface default lit? No, it needs to be hair. So yeah, that's gonna look very different. Also, isn't there like used groom or hair? Yeah, used with hair strands. Yes, please. I don't know what that means, but I memorized that it's a thing you can click, so you probably should. So yeah, again, the top half is something that's just under the hat, but at some point it might fly off or something, so it may better be, you know, improved in the future. Also, check this out, guys. So this is like hair translucency. This is the lit hair, then the shaded hair, and then this hair is casting a shadow, but then there's this spot of hair being lit through. That's pretty awesome. And where it gets thicker, it's opaque again. That's pretty damn impressive for a real-time engine with such a high level of detail on the hair strands. Another thing is, of course, the simulation. So that's really awesome. When you turn it on, oh damn, it's gonna take some time. I forgot about that. That's like when you turn it on for the first time, it needs to like cache all the strands of the hair as physical objects, and then it works like super fast and awesome. This is like one of the best hair simulations I've ever seen, like it's so cool. So yeah, I had two versions of hair for John. Simple hair that you guys just saw in the engine, and another one is the fun version, which was just, I wanted to see some simulations flying around. So yeah, there's this as well, and it's pretty damn fun to create these things. What was cool about creating this kind of shapes, let me create like, this is gonna be like hair 03. So I think I can even kind of turn this hair right now into like morally acceptable. And the cool way about like creating these very accurate fades, you know, how do you shape the hair to look like this? That's what looks impressive on hairstyles and MetaHuman Creator, that they look like they actually like having this fade with a buzz cut and whatever. Like, how do you shape that so perfectly? Actually, it's super easy. Barely an inconvenience. So you go to the weight paint. Pretty much you do all of that in a weight paint. And by that, I think I need to show you guys the emitter to see the map I'm painting. So yeah, this right now is the density map. So if I will increase the heat anywhere else, that's where the hair will start growing. So really, I could kind of export also the beard and everything, but John already has pretty good beard out of the box of the MetaHuman Creator, so I won't necessarily do that, but of course I could. But I haven't really experimented too much with, you know, changing his face yet in Blender or anything. There are plugins that can really make it very streamlined that you guys recommended, so thank you guys for that. But so far, I've actually been very busy with animating John and making sure he works as a character using a keyboard and mouse or the gaming controller. So all of that is done, but this video is not about that. And yeah, if we added the hair length weight paint, you can see it looks like this, really weird, as if there's supposed to be long hair on John's forehead, but it won't be because there's zero density on the other map, so you can definitely not even bother with that. And yeah, the way to create all of these like accurate fades is really just using gradients. Really, creating hairstyles using gradients is like the best thing ever, because that's something any barber would love to have in real life. If I'm gonna go with like weight being 0 and stretch the gradient like this, you can see we'll start getting somewhat of a more normal looking frontal part of this hair. And yeah, I'm just stretching that gradient of 0 length, so it's like semi-transparently applying that effect on it. Oh my god, you can see it's pretty much like a final product look. Yeah, so mostly it's like you're just using that. You start with a black map. Let me actually demonstrate exactly that. So I'll make the whole map black by using strength at 100 and weight at 0. That means I'm applying like black color at maximum opacity. And this way I'll drag the gradient backwards and it will fill everything up with black. Then I'll choose white weight and I'll drag the gradient from the top being like white color. And this is like an amazing perfect fade from the very top to the very bottom. And where the hair actually grows is taken care of earlier with the density map. So it's a pretty easy, process. I'm pretty much back where I just was, like it was just one gradient and that's it. Well, not really. So yeah, you can also then go on the sides with like 0 weight, for instance, and tone it down. For some reason, very alas, the symmetry doesn't really work. You can see X symmetry is turned on, but it's not working ever. Ooh. That's such a punky look. I feel like something's wrong in here at the top. Yeah, I'm not sure. And another thing, you guys can notice that at a certain length, like when the hair is short, it's kind of like uniform and pretty much acting normal. But when it's getting longer, it's getting all messed up. Where is that, set up? That is just in the hair settings right here. It's all live, like I didn't really groom it all that much. Maybe I did a little bit, but not in this version. In the in-game version, the, cutting his own hair version, that's where I think I groomed it to be combed on the side, and that's like the worst part of it, probably. But yeah, you really don't need a lot of that, depending on the style of the game and, the craziness of your character. It may be just this kind of spiky hair with all kinds of messy settings applied to it, especially in, clumping a little bit. Don't overdo that, because it will do things that are totally disabled almost completely by the roughness, but yeah, it's doing this, the Final Fantasy Cloud kind of look, and it could go really insane. But if we bring back roughness like this, you can see it's getting messed up again, yet still, it will be a combination of both. So you can do a bunch of stuff with that, introducing both effects. And what's really cool is you can also mask things out in terms of, like, I'm applying roughness to the tips, but also, like this. So, shape lets you control, like, how long the hair needs to be to start acting according to this roughness effect. So this way only the longest hair gets it. But if I bring it to 0, even the shortest hairs will go all messed up. So that's a really cool way of controlling it. And of course, on top of that, you can go ahead and actually comb the hair. Well, yeah, it is combed a little bit, of course, because I need to have certain strands to go down and whatever. I really like using this mode a lot of the time, which is it's like dragging specifically the tips of hairs instead of doing the weird thing where you're grabbing pretty much all the time just the middle of the hair, which is so lame to do. So yeah, these are all different modes that are useful for different things. And of course, it's important to smooth these things around. Otherwise, things can go really insane. Oh yeah, it's so much better now. But yeah, like, let's say we have this kind of hair. That's pretty much the process. So yeah, we'll see if I can apply any more styling to that. But let's quickly go back to our witness hair right here, because it's done getting ready to be simulated. Any day now, I'll be able to align the camera. Oh, something insane is going on there. Oh my god, that's so creepy. What the hell? Why is that going on? Oh, that's such a good simulation. Oh, you can see it's kind of live already. But what's cool, if you're like applying lower stiffness or something, it will just fall down more. And you will see it here. I guess that's why we started seeing certain hairs sticking out from the hat, is because it changed its shape a little bit. But yeah, this stuff is starting to be live. There are different modes in here as well, depending on how complicated you want the simulation to be. So, another thing I want to show you guys is the fun hair on my John. So, as I mentioned, I have our main character walking around being all chill and alive and cutting his own hair. But it's pretty short hair, and I made sure it acts like, you know, more or less real, not just bouncing around live all the time like, we're simulating it, are you saying it? Yeah, I'm trying not to do that. I'm still working on the jumping mechanism. I'm not sure if the survival horror game really needs jumping, but right now I'll go to the John's blueprint and I'll replace his hair with that fun version. Do I just type in fun? Yep. There it is. And also fun binding, it's important, otherwise things will be a bit messy. Even though it's the same mesh, but still binding needs to be different. It's already updated there, but it's gonna be also updated here, and it's gonna be absolutely majestic. I love this so much. Imagine playing a game where simulations of hair would be like this. It's insane. I mean, where it would be actually reasonable. And look at how it's like being translucent on the sun. It's like real hair of a very messed up person. But like, this is insane. This is so photoreal, like video real. Including the motion, you know. It's overly bouncy, but you guys saw that you can totally tone it down. I did it on purpose here just to see the limit of, you know, the way it can work, and I have yet to find the limit, really. So yeah, that's what hair does. Now, I think I want to real quick make this hair not this long and import some kind of, you know, version that could possibly work in the final product. I think what's also good is to use like a soft, big brush with low strength and like, you know, apply it the way a complex gradient would work or something like that. So we would want to have a little bit more hair in here. I guess. I think it's gonna look insane. Oh my god. What was that show called? Mindhunter? Yeah, the guy from the Mindhunter. Okay, one stroke. I don't think I have the... Nope, it's still too much, so... Strength should be like 0.1. Bigger radius, and maybe there's even like something smoother, for instance, maybe that'll help. And like starting from the back a little bit, something like that. The shape may be messy also because of all the roughness that I applied, but I think it's the combing. Combing needs to be adjusted a bit. So yeah, this like split or whatever it's called, it's like the hardest part to pull off. This is one thing that I think you should kind of do manually, is the biggest challenge. I guess the biggest challenge is the fact that when you are combing it, you don't see the final result like at all. Like I have no idea, maybe it's gonna be a complete mess now. Even though it seems like I'm doing the right thing, but yeah, like this part, it needs like different cut, I guess, or something. That's the part where it looks weird always. It needs to be pushed backwards a little bit, maybe. Yeah, kind of like that. So anyway, let's give this a try. Welcome back to my domain. If we did everything right, the importer will be correct. There it is. Save. I'll immediately just create that binding as well. 04 final. And you can see now what it means to not have binding on the hair. And in here we just go with that final binding. Oh my god. Well, that's not right. I wonder why that happened. Is it gonna be every? Yep. Well, that's looking hot. This is like a cutout for the ear. I wonder why this happened. So I duplicated something, and I wonder if that resulted in an issue. I'm not sure. That's a problem I keep having now, since I'm so used to the shortcuts of Unreal Engine. I keep trying to use them in Blender, and I keep duplicating things. But I mean, that's a maybe. I'm gonna call it a release candidate number 1. Pretty, progressive. Honestly, he looks like he escaped from somewhere. Just add a little metallic plug in that bold spot, and it'll be like an amazing sci-fi. Also, all these shapes, I'll briefly mention it, like this shape of this ancient, some kind of stone thing. I modeled this thing fully customly, like with full freedom of modeling and sculpting and Boolean combining objects and polygonal modeling, like all kinds of modeling, and voxel combination of shapes, and applying noises and everything. All of that done not leaving Unreal Engine 5, so you can even seriously model in here too, which is freaking amazing. So that's what's up. And this is John's new hair, and he is gonna have to learn to live with it. But yeah, I guess for now this is it. Enough of the amazing experiments before they get completely out of hand. Tell me guys what you think. Hope it was helpful or interesting or inspiring to give your own expression a try with, applying your own hair to a metahuman model you may be having, because of really how easy it is to add a new hairstyle to your model, which is like the best thing ever. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! We meet again. So there's also this focus mode that all it does for now is zooming in, pushing camera upwards, and making John standing awkwardly. I don't know. That's about it. Like, however he stands, and that's just, I'm focused. Pretty good stuff. Pre-order now.